A small vegetable farm along the banks of a polluted drain in Accra. 49-year-old Peter Kofi Ahen bent over a row of vegetable plants, carefully watering them with water scooped directly from the stagnant drain beside his farm. Murky, dark and filled with floating debris. He knows the water is dirty, but he says he has no choice.
This water flows, so we believe it's clean. I have customers in Medina markets, Accra, and other market centers.
For over 2 decades, this has been his way of farming, using wastewater to grow the vegetables that end up in homes, restaurants, and markets across the city. Here, the stench hits you before the sight does.
This is not just a drain, it is an open sewer filled with human waste, plastic and all kinds of filth. And yet, just a few steps away, farmers are using the same contaminated water to grow vegetables that end up in the markets and on our plates. This water carries bacteria, fecal matter and even toxic chemicals, making it a breeding ground for deadly diseases like cholera. But for farmers who have no access to clean irrigation sources, this is their only option. You can clearly see that I'm engulfed with filth, human excreta over there, tissue papers being used by people who come here to defecate, and this is just alarming and concerning. The smell here is horrendous.
35-year-old Abdallah Hussein is one of those farmers. His lettuce is just days away from being harvested, yet he still relies on the same contaminated water. But Kofi and Abdallah are not alone. Across Ghana's capital, Accra, and other urban farming communities, vegetable growers depend on wastewater from gutters, drains, and even open sewers. With limited access to clean irrigation sources, they turn to the easiest and cheapest alternative, one that consumers are largely unaware of. To determine just how dangerous this water is, we visited the Water Research Institute's microbiology lab. The research team was ready, and together we headed to the drain to collect samples. Here, some farmers had already connected generators to pump water for irrigation. With the samples collected, it was time for testing.
Scientists are about to analyze just how contaminated it really is.
After 18 hours, the results were ready.
Generally, you see that they are made up of pink and blue colonies. The pink colonies are generally bacteria that are from the environment. But those ones which are blue are indicative of fecal contamination in the water. There's a possibility if the person who discharges feces into the water is a carrier of typhoid, bacteria for typhoid, cholera, or any other gastrointestinal disease, then the water will be contaminated. And its use on vegetables may cause the disease of the person who originally carried that bacteria. We can tentatively say so that the water is dangerous.
The water that we have with these farmers, urban farmers, using to irrigate vegetables, yes, majority of them, they are contaminated with fecal matter. Other research that are being conducted have shown that they are contaminated with pathogens at different levels.
At Malata Market, one of Accra's busiest food hubs, traders proudly display fresh produce, lettuce, cabbage, spring onions and carrots. Shoppers, unaware of where these vegetables come from, bargain to the best price, picking up bundles that may end up tainted with fecal matter and harmful bacteria. Public health expert Professor Richmond Okai Ayite warns that the consequences of consuming such produce can be severe.
Basically, when you eat food that is contaminated with microorganisms, it causes all kinds of GIT conditions. Those are the conditions that are relating to from the mouth to the stomach and all the challenges with conditions like diarrhea and fever, and sometimes it can be deadly.
Ghana is already seeing the consequences. The Ghana Health Service reports that cholera cases are rising, with 14 deaths recorded in the central region alone. Hospitals are treating more patients with severe diarrhea and dehydration. Despite the health risks, farmers say they are caught between survival and safety.
That one there, like it's better. Just some people will.
The water is better, but the problem is that some houses have connected their wastewater directly to the drain.
That water is spoiled here.
Regulatory agencies have long struggled to control the practice. While food safety laws exist, enforcement is weak and authorities often turn a blind eye. Experts say the solution lies in providing safe irrigation alternatives and educating farmers about the risks. Some initiatives, like wastewater treatment facilities for agricultural use, have been introduced in small pilot projects, but widespread change remains elusive. For now, the burden falls on consumers to protect themselves. Professor Aite advises thorough washing and disinfection of vegetables before consumption. Back at the farm, the farmers continue their work, watering crops with wastewater, just as they have done for years. Soon, these vegetables will be harvested, packed into trucks and transported to markets across the city. For many Ghanaians, the danger is invisible, but it sits right there on their plates. Godwin Asediba, TV3.